from Haiti, where women and girls are subjected to sexual violence as a tactic of coercion by gangs aiming to impede a democratic transition, to Afghanistan, where the Taliban has imposed draconian restrictions, barring women and girls, thereby undermining the country's stability and development, to Ukraine, where Ukrainian women are literally on the front lines of Russia's brutal and unjust war.
Yes, special rapporteurs have received allegations of rape against Palestinian women, and not only Palestinian women, women and men, in detention centers, or while deprived of their liberties.
In a nutshell, this pertains to reports of arbitrary and summary execution of women, many of them while they were seeking refuge, so fleeing the bombardment and were displaced. They were clearly civilians. Some of them were even raising white flags when they were killed. Now, I should say here that the arbitrary detention of women and girls from the West Bank and Gaza are not new. However, these pertain to an estimated 200 women and girls from Gaza, and perhaps another estimated 147 women and 245 children from the West.
As I speak, a global circus called NATO is underway in America. NATO, you know, the root of all the problem, all the conflict, particularly the Ukraine-Russia war. We all know it all started because of some countries' desire to expand NATO and take it to the backyard of Russia. So that, the circus is taking place in America at the moment. And to start with, they began what they call a roundtable on security and safety of women in conflict zone. Yes. You'd be surprised to know that they're actually concerned about the safety and security of women in conflict zones. Yes, they are. But not Palestinians though, huh? No, not Palestinians. So it all started with a woman called Jennifer Klein. You know Jennifer Klein? Jennifer Klein making a case for why they needed to discuss the safety and security of women. And the conflict that she mentioned is Afghanistan. There is no conflict in Afghanistan, but Afghanistan must be mentioned because that is a golden opportunity to defame Islam and Muslims. Haiti, women are being, as I learned, that women are being brutalized in Haiti. Ukraine, Russians are brutalizing women, but women are in paradise in Gaza and West Bank. That's the shameless woman called Jennifer Klein had to say. She comfortably forgot, and you cannot say that she's ignorant because she is at a top post in the White House. Even though America may have a brain-dead president, that doesn't demean the position of White House. We know the stature of White House and the kind of people it employs. So you would expect the people at her rank, at the director level, would have some kind of awareness about what is happening around the world and something which is dominating the global politics, particularly in America, the Middle East politics. But she showed complete disregard to the brutalities being meted out to Palestinians by Israeli terrorists. And this lady had absolute no awareness. So therefore, she thought that Gaza must not be mentioned. Either she is dumb, so she doesn't know, or this is another willful attempt to erase Palestinians, as if the Palestinians don't exist. So therefore, any atrocities being committed to Palestinians should not form part of the global discourse.
Before we dive into the discussion, I'd like to invite my friend and colleague, Jennifer Klein, Special Assistant to the President and Director of the Gender Policy Council at the White House, to make a few opening remarks.
Geeta, and before we start, I just want to acknowledge the moment we're in, which is Russia's missile strikes that killed dozens of Ukrainian civilians and caused tremendous damage and casualties. As the president said yesterday, NATO and this country, the United States, stands with Ukraine at this important moment and will continue to do that. I want to begin by thanking the many allies and ministers representing NATO countries and other partners who are joining us for this roundtable discussion. Your presence here is testament to the pivotal role of women in efforts to resolve conflict and achieve sustainable peace and security, and to the importance of addressing the impact that war and instability have on women's lives. We know that wherever the rights of women and girls are under threat, so too is democracy, peace, and stability. From Haiti, where women and girls are subjected to sexual violence as a tactic of coercion by gangs aiming to impede a democratic transition, to Afghanistan, where the Taliban has imposed draconian restrictions barring women and girls, thereby undermining the country's stability and development, to Ukraine, where Ukrainian women are literally on the front lines of Russia's brutal and unjust war, but where we are again seeing rape used as a weapon of conflict. Each of these examples exemplifies what decades of research confirm. The status of women and the stability of nations are inextricably linked. When women's human rights are protected and women have the chance to fully participate at decision-making tables, societies are more secure, militaries more effective, and peace longer lasting.
Otherwise, how would you justify the something that was mentioned by not one, but a series of UN experts in not long ago, in February this year? And those women were quite well-known experts. We are talking about Reem Al-Salem, who is the Special Rapporteur by United Nations. You have Francesca Albanese, who is a Special Rapporteur by United Nations, looking at the cases of genocide in the occupied territories of Palestine. These were the women who presented that report and said Israel was actually using the rape and the sexual violence as tool of war, which is the war crimes in international law. In fact, Rima Al-Salem then appeared on United Nations radio program to talk about her report and their findings in greater detail.
We had received information about violations that had happened in December last year and January this year. The way we work in special procedures is we would usually get this information either directly from the victims concerned or from human rights organizations on the ground or organizations representing the victims or lawyers or family members. And so then we corroborate this information that we obtain from different sources, and we have reasonable grounds to believe that they're fairly credible. However, we obviously call them allegations because we also send this information to the concerned government, so in this case, Israel, and we request information from the state on this reported information. We request them to tell us their side of the story. In a nutshell, this pertains to reports of arbitrary and summary execution of women, many of them while they were seeking refuge, so fleeing the bombardment and were displaced. They were clearly civilians. Some of them were even raising white flags when they were killed. Now, I should say here that the arbitrary detention of women and girls from the West Bank and Gaza are not new. However, these pertain to an estimated 200 women and girls from Gaza and perhaps another estimated 147 women and 245 children from the West Bank. So the reports we have received is them literally being kidnapped from their homes in the West Bank, moved to detention facilities in the West Bank and Israel. Same thing for women and children in Gaza being picked up, separated from their family members, and really going through atrocious circumstances in detention that, is inhumane, degrading, involved severe beatings, involved denial of basic things like medical assistance, and also being stripped naked, having had their photos taken of them in degrading situations. Veiled women have had their veils taken off, photos of women being shared in these degrading positions by soldiers.
You mentioned that you shared the information with the concerned government, the Israeli government. Did you get any response back?
We have not received any response, which unfortunately is the norm by the government of Israel. It does not engage constructively with the special procedures or with the independent experts.
And this shameless woman has the audacity to not mention. It was the same period in March when United Nations says that Israeli terrorists were killing 2 mothers every hour in Palestine, in Gaza. That's how brutal it is. The question also appeared during the press conference with Francesca Albanese. Remember when Francesca Albanese presented her report saying that how the happenings, the brutalities, the genocidal campaign of Israel in Gaza had crossed the threshold of what United Nations would define as genocide? She held a press conference and a journalist asked a question about the brutalities being meted out to Palestinian women by Israeli terrorists. This is what she had to say.
We heard a lot about raping Israeli women. This narrative, Israeli narrative, did you receive any evidences that it happened? And from the other side, we also received many reports and heard a lot of Palestinian delegations saying that Israeli occupation army raped Palestinian women in Gaza and inside the prisons also. Can you confirm any of both narratives? Do you have any evidences about this? And did any of both sides used rape as a war weapon? Thank you.
Your name and your media?
Yes, my name is Dina Abisab. I'm a reporter of several Arabic media. Thank you.
I'm not entirely comfortable with the term narrative, and I'm sure it's done in good faith. But it's the fact that rape occurs in context of hostilities or heightened animosity and conflict. I mean, even at the social level, it happens. So I was not surprised to hear allegations and instances of rape, and I've expressed since the very beginning my solidarity with all victims, and it's clear that it takes time for women to elaborate, to process what they've gone through. What I was very disturbed by was the weaponization of anything that has happened on the 7th of October. Personally, I have not received information. I've read reports that have been written. I didn't find any convincing evidence, but this doesn't mean that I believe that rape didn't occur. This is for what happened in Israel. Yes, special rapporteurs have received allegations of rape against Palestinian women, and not only Palestinian women, women and men, in detention centers, or while deprived of their liberties. Because this is a conference, I mean, I'm not going to go in detail about that, but yes, we received this, and we have inquired with the Israeli authorities. We have also denounced it publicly because it was of serious concern, among other crimes being committed against the Palestinians. And yeah, we shall see.
This Jennifer Klein or Clown doesn't know that these things have happened. So therefore, she has chosen not to mention. I don't think she's unaware, right? And I don't think she's dumb. And I'm not picking on her because she's a Jewish woman. I'm not picking on her because of that. I'm picking on her because she's holding an important position. She is talking at an event, NATO event, to talk about the atrocities being committed to women in conflict zones, and she doesn't mention Palestinians. That's what my real gripe is. We have seen the role of the White House and the State Department consistently, routinely supporting Israel in all its atrocities. We have seen the current administration led by Joe Biden blindly supporting Israel to slaughter Palestinians. And this is Her conduct in today's roundtable, so-called roundtable, is just an extension of that genocidal policy. That's what it is. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.